The general concept of Among Us is not something new. It's a more elaborate iteration of the classic werewolf game, or Mafia as it's known in the States. It's even older than that with like murder mystery whodunit movies, but alright, let's focus on games here. The concept is simple. There's a group of people, usually with a common role like townspeople, and a minority of the group are pretending to be just like everyone else, but in reality, they are killing people without anyone knowing. Their goal is to stay alive and wipe out everyone inconspicuously, and the townspeople's goal is to find out who these traitors are and vote for them to be killed. If a majority of the group agree to kill someone, that person is eliminated, whether they're a traitor or not. Now, this in-person version has been a fun, popular game to play for a while, but its shortcomings are obvious. In the end, there are no clues, no trail, no evidence or tangible information to try and determine who the traitor is. It's still fun to play so you can argue with friends, try to read their tells and see who's lying, but that's about as far as it goes. In Among Us, however, this concept is taken beyond theory and is actually simulated. The traitor does need to kill someone and actually do it in a time and in a place so that they don't get caught. It goes from static to dynamic. And this might seem simple in concept now that many of us have played the game so many times, but to think that would be to undermine its thoughtful design. The simplicity of Mafia creates a challenge in its translation. How do you make a game with an actual setting where traitors can sneakily kill people? How do you build a game that results in similar interactions where players argue amongst themselves, accuse others, defend themselves, everyone unsure of who the killer really is? It's the tasks, honestly. The tasks are genius. We know it's such a dumb, simple thing to call genius, but it's like this. The tasks give the crewmates goals, and this allows the gameplay to actually take place. Crewmates get spread across the map and plant their focus on these click and drag minigames, which creates a situation where an imposter can walk around and kill people unbeknownst. This is the basis of the entire game, and why it works how it does. The good guy's main goal involves them moving around and being in separate areas, which is exactly what's necessary for a bad guy to catch someone by themselves and kill them without anyone else noticing. Tasks also formulate the general traitor concept, because it gives everyone a common purpose. Everyone is meant to be united in completing their tasks, and this creates an innate responsibility of deception for the imposters. They also need to seem as though they're participating in the common purpose. Just like the werewolf, who is theoretically supposed to be seen as just another villager, the imposter is supposed to be seen as just another crewmate. Except here, the imposter needs to watch their behavior in-game and do certain actions to make sure the illusion remains. With proper settings, the tasks pull up a screen only you see. Nothing really confirms or denies if a person has started doing one, so an imposter can act like they are. The tasks give the crewmates something to do and the imposter something to pretend, and thus the simulation is established. It's also worth noting that the tasks aren't necessary. Crewmates can hypothetically win without doing a single one. That could be considered a design risk, but they expertly made it a win condition. It's not something mandatory, not a superficial way to get players apart. Players do their tasks because it's undoubtedly the most certain way to win. The motivation is intrinsic, which creates a cool harmony between the simulation of crewmates who want to fix a ship or get it running or whatever, I don't know what the Among Us lore is, and the players and what they actually want to do to win the game. It's also cool because their completion puts a time limit on the imposters. If all tasks were lose conditions, like some of the emergencies that just kept spawning endlessly, it would let the imposters bide their time for the perfect kill forever. How the game is structured now gives it way more motivation and urgency on both sides. How tasks work and how they allow killing to work make the game have a heavy focus on information. It's what it's really about, and you realize that the more you play. At first, we treated it more like Werewolf, trying to figure out who was lying through their voices, but you quickly realize that's just a dumb way to play. Because for the most part, you can slowly work to figure out who it is based on what happens in the actual game. It's usually never 100%, but you do gain evidence. Say you were with someone a whole round, so you know they at least didn't kill the newest body. Two people walk by you, go in the opposite direction, and then you run into a body. You don't see someone the whole round, or the classic, you see someone acting sus. Tasks play into this too. Maybe someone's not standing where they're supposed to do the task they're faking. Maybe they're just walking around not doing tasks at all. More and more people get killed, and you realize you can make a reasonable assumption of who the imposters might be. But the thing about that is, information is limited and varies between players. Nobody is at all places at all times. Not everyone is with the same people. Not everyone has the same perception of what they see. The maps are intelligently designed to be very sectioned off, many different rooms and areas, and there is limited visibility for crewmates, so the imposter can smartly choose the timing and location of his kills to limit others' information as much as possible. How effective it is depends on the players, but the point is, if you're playing crewmate, nothing is truly certain. And since the only weapon the good guys have is voting, which requires a majority, a discussion needs to be had. There's no way around it. This is the way the game naturally progresses, because even if the imposter killed someone in front of you, you can't vote him out on your own. Player conversations interwoven into the game design. As the imposter progresses by killing people, the crewmates progress by talking and listening, figuring out who the imposter might be. And even more interesting than that, just like how the imposter needs to be deceitful in-game, they need to be deceitful in conversation. If you say nothing, or you make your intentions clear, you'll lose. You need to act like a crewmate, which means not only defend yourself and say you're one, but also seem as though you're trying to find out who the imposter is. It is their role here to do the opposite, to try and muddle the available information with false trails and plant their own dishonest assumptions. This is where Among Us shines, and why we have such high regard for it. It does something we've seen no other game do, at least to this level, which is that it makes player interaction, as in real-life unpredictable human dialogue, the main gameplay element. Unlike in most games where you can use things like reaction time, input speed, and previously practiced tech skill, here you use your ability of keeping a calm voice under pressure, emotional intelligence, social manipulation, quick thinking, and attention to detail. You can use conversation as the main tool to tackle the challenges the game throws at you. And again, this is true on both sides. Though dialogue is the key for crewmates, it can be just as good a tool for imposters, specifically cunning ones who are good at acting and manipulating. Just look at this clip right here from popular YouTuber Critical. You might have already seen it. For context, there are 4 people left in the game. You're about to see him kill one of them.
Oh my god, it's Charlie.
Alright, so that's a self-report. I ran out of admin. She must have gone in and killed Felix behind me on O2.
I thought it was Toast this whole time. It's Charlie.
Well, okay, well we can make this a lot easier. Toast watched me do that task in electrical.
Toast?
That is true. The bar did go up.
Yeah.
Wait.
But can you make the taskbar go up?
Someone must have done a task at the same time. I'm telling you, Toast, it's Charlie.
I was with Toast the majority of the last round as well.
Toast, don't let him.
Oh.
You play with me a lot. You know it's not me.
Fuck, this is actually not that easy for me.
No, Toast, you can. It's still not too late. It's not too late. It's not too late.
Leslie, it's not on you. If we lose, it's on me.
Okay.
It's on me. Okay.
But you're gonna lose as soon as you vote Charlie. Just as soon as you vote me. You can win.
Wait.
Did
you just slip up there, Leslie?
Fucking played him. So I'm so sorry, Toast.
Well
I'm so
played,
sorry.
Nice job. Damn, that was a really good round. Good job.
On a pure gameplay aspect, he did not make a good play. There's little things more incriminating than getting caught leaving a room with a dead body in it. Yet using calm, assured arguments, mentioning previously planted information from the match, he was able to clutch out a win. And that is why the game is so engaging, why we love playing it so much, why everyone does. The satisfaction of pulling out a win like that is not the same as making a cool play in your standard video game. It's not necessarily better or worse, but it's not the same. The fact that the gameplay is maneuvering and talking with real people whose ideas and thoughts and behaviors are completely unique and unpredictable is so special. There's just not really anything like it. Of course, what happens on screen, what you would consider the standard gameplay, it's also important. It's what leads to you being suspected or not. But it exists and is designed in order to have satisfying conversations. If we could put it in a vacuum, like the meetings, the combos, they're fun by themselves. The on-screen gameplay is not fun in a vacuum. It pays service to the dialogue, unlike most games where dialogue pays service to the gameplay. In a MOBA like League of Legends, communication is important. You need to call if an enemy is missing in your lane so the other players know that they might get double teamed. It's communication that aids the gameplay. But a game of League can play out without communication. It would suck, but you can still do the necessary tasks like killing and farming that allow you to progress and have the game run its course, and possibly be fun. This just cannot happen here. We've had the luxury of usually having a group big enough to play the game how it was meant to. There's little worse than to have always played with friends and then being bored one day with no one available and hopping on to play randos on text. We invite anyone who hasn't played public yet to do it. It's gonna explain our point way better than we can. As a crewmate, it really boils down to the weakest parts of the game, which is simple point and click minigames. You just do your tasks, someone gets reported, the only meaningful dialogue that occurs is the reporter says who it is, or says they saw someone vent, everyone votes him out, and that's about it. You realize just how necessary conversation is, because without it, a crewmate can go the whole game without seeing or doing anything interesting whatsoever. Even imposters' experience gets heavily tarnished. It's fun to try and kill without getting caught, but without the talking, you might as well play something more input-based than clicking one button. Now, this dialogue-based gameplay can exist with just tasks and good map design, but Among Us does a lot more. You can self-report bodies as the imposter, which is a great design choice because it continues to limit information. Someone reporting doesn't mean they're not the killer, thus things remain more ambiguous. Vents give imposters a better tool of movement, but more importantly, it lets them hide their location so they're not trapped if they kill in a room. Emergencies are basically hindrances for the crewmates that they need to fix. Some are limitations like limited vision with lights or limiting tasks with comms, and others are straight up lose conditions like if the oxygen runs out. These are an addition to the main gameplay, but they're very important because as players get more experience being crewmates, they tend to play real smart, especially toward the final stages of a game. They can discuss who finished their tasks, who didn't, and plan to form little groups to protect each other. You can have a game where all the remaining crewmates are walking together and you, the imposter, would be completely out of options, which creates an impasse in the game design. It would be totally lame for a match to pretty much be over if there's only one imposter out of 4 or 5 people late game. You always want to have a player be able to throw some sort of Hail Mary. This is where emergencies come in. These force people to a certain direction, force people to separate or limit their visibility, all giving the imposter opportunities to kill without others noticing. Imposters can also close certain doors, which also works to separate people and giving them a chance to kill. These are all useful mechanics at any point in the game, but they particularly remove that late game conundrum. There's also cool things like Vitals, which lets you know who's dead, Admin, which tells you the amount of players in each room, but not who they are, or Cameras, who give you a glimpse of just a few tiny areas. Cool things that add to the game and show how deliberate the design is. The crewmates can sacrifice their task completion speed for sprinkles of information, stuff that will add hints to the overall analysis, usually without giving it all away. Though Among Us may seem really simple when you look at it at surface level, it's clear just how precise the design is. It's purposefully simple because it's meant to be a foundation, a perfectly crafted stage on which the most dynamic social gameplay we've ever experienced can take place. We gotta commend them for it. They've made something truly innovative, despite its clear inspirations. This game is obviously gonna fall off at some point. It's just how video games work. They go through waves. But we think after this boom it had, it's always going to have a solid player base. It's always going to be a game worth coming back to from time to time with friends. And more than anything, we think, whatever happens next, the popularity it did accrue was well deserved. Also, quick shout out to Among Us, like that's such a good fucking name. I gotta add this into the video. It's simple words, it's catchy and easy to remember, yet it has this solemn tone that instantly portrays what the game is about. Innersloth, the developers, made a near perfect simulation of the whole, one of us is a traitor, we don't know who it is, but we can figure it out. And that is the subtle genius of Among Us.